Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I bankrupt joined again by Jimmy and Jake.
Allegedly.
What's going on, y'all?
In today's matchup, got a couple blasts from the past from both sides of the table. It's Jake versus Jimmy. Jimmy's brought back his take on Invoker. I say that weirdly, and Jimmy will go over it later. And Jake's brought back Traitor Dende. Like always, his buttons down below. Feel free to click them to different reason. Let's tackle the Invoker thing first.
Okay. So this is kind of my last hurrah with Invoker. While I think the deck is still incredibly strong and will be a strong deck going into the Zenkai format, I think a lot of the things that make Invoker really, really good is kind of getting squashed going into the next set. So this was kind of my last hurrah with the deck. It being one of my favorite decks this game has ever put out. You mentioned the Invoker question mark at the beginning there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we'll watch Jake play 16,000 Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
And also that mill, goddamn.
That's a good burst.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
But this deck really is Invoker only by its historic name. I don't run any card that turns on Invoker until turn 5, which in the older Invoker list, you would run the Vegeta. The Vegeta is just bad now. We got the Android 17. He was completely busted until the errata, which sort of just made him completely useless in my opinion. So this deck really, all of your multicolor extra cards are just used for leader fodder and fodder for stuff like Rival Seeker and your Secret Rare. And then in this match, we do actually see an Invoker get triggered a couple times, just due to the setup that happened on Jake's end. So I do get some Invoker triggers, but normally when I throw down a card with Invoker, the game is usually over on that turn. So I never really get to abuse that part of the deck. That being said, I think this deck is really, really strong right now. And I'm kind of upset that I just got into it right at the tail end of this format going into Zenkai.
We'll see this match as well. Just for point of reference, your secret rare of choice is in a hard case. So one of your cards in this deck is actually flipped over, and it's supposed to represent your secret rare.
Yeah, the secret rare obviously is Apex of Power. If you're new to this game, you might not know that, but it's Apex of Power.
A little bit too expensive to put in a regular sleeve and shuffle up with.
I mean, if this was a bigger event, I wouldn't care to play the card, but this is our standard locals right here. You drop your Clan of Terror, and it's like, well, do you want to turn on Invoker on my side right now? It's like, yeah, you're playing this in a super combo, whether you like it or not. I do miss the draw on the Zeno Super Combo for the auto.
Yeah.
I think we actually mentioned that later on in the match, but again, it's not that big of a deal. But for our locals, anytime there's a crazy expensive card such as Apex of Power or the Awakened Power, I'm not going to ask any of our players to actually play the card in their deck. Just throw something in the deck to represent the card and then just play it in your top loader or your hard case, because that's kind of ridiculous. There's no need to be shuffling a $1,000 card on in your deck. But starting off here, I was getting kind of poor options in my hand for both charge and to play with. As you see in my hand, I did have the Not Even a Scratch, which can help me out on these big double strike attacks. But I just kept getting cards that I either wanted to keep in my hand to trigger the leader ability with, or I was getting stuff that I want to keep until my later turns. So charging and pitching for effects was really difficult in these early turns.
And I kind of picked up on that, which is why I didn't attack with Clan of Terror last turn. I realized, like, after looking at your hand, your resources were pretty low, and I didn't want to just give, because I knew you pretty much would have just instantly picked up that 2 life had I attacked. So I was kind of picking up on your struggles with resource management early here, and honestly, I feel like that's what's got me in like a kind of a decent position at this stage of the game.
Speaking of, real quick, unless you have something else, Jimmy, I was going to ask Jake, why Traitor Dende?
So if you go way back in the channel's history, I don't know if it's on camera or not, but Traitor Dende was the first deck I ever actually won our locals with. And it's just like a weird time where we're in between sets, and there's been a lot of good yellow cards released, and I feel like the Robotic Riposte Mecha Frieza was almost made for this deck. So I feel like it was just a good time to try it out, and it surprised me. It did a little bit better than I thought it would overall, like throughout the event. But I think ultimately the age of the leader and a lot of the other cards in the deck keep it from being like a top tier competitor, even though this like Clan of Terror effect is super powerful.
You forcing me to play the Rival Seeker here was really difficult on my end of like, what do I do now? Do I try to combo out of this? Do I try to keep the card on build? Because you do have your I can't remember if it's Occupation of Evil. It's the other 4-drop Frieza.
Returning Terror.
Returning Terror, yeah. So it could just pop something in rest mode, and that's what I'm reading right here is the Returning Terror. And you have 2 energy up, and you could just throw that out there real quick. I don't know how many Return of the Emperors you have, because I know you have 3 in the drop area at this point. I didn't know if you had another one.
I've run 4, and I don't know if I had the 4th one in my hand, but as you see from that vicious lackey Tagoma in the drop area, there's plenty of ways for me to get my desires from my drop area back to my hand.
Certainly,
that's basically my goal. Is every turn I want to look at my opponent's hand and either force them to play something or just get the knowledge of what to do that turn with Clan of Terror, and then push if I need to, or spend the turn developing resources with Gogeta. And ultimately the game plan is like on turn 5 you want to ideally you can revival the Emperor 3 times and play 3 Friezas and then go into Cell. So we'll see if that ends up happening this game or not, but right now it looks like I'm kind of holding my own, like against a much more modern deck.
There might be a slight misplay there because you activated the token negate with your life, and I think you have to be at 5 or less life to strike the life for it.
Yeah,
he was at 5. He
I'm at 4 right now.
He rearranged his life.
Okay, gotcha. My bad. I'm used to seeing the rows like I have it on my side. But yeah, you're good. I want to talk about the Boo Unison here. Card is busted in Invoker paired with the TOP Arena. Being able to stack your deck. So one of the kind of bad things about Invoker, if it even is a bad thing, with TOP Arena, you can stack the top of your deck however you like, but on your turn, outside of either your Leader's Activate Battle or your draw for turn, you are just going to be drawing extra cards the entire time by warping your drop area multicolors to just reveal the top card. If it's multicolor extra card, you get to add it to your hand. Getting that extra draw from Boo every turn with being able to stack the top of your deck is really, really strong, because that lets you put anything you want into your hand off of the top 3 cards. And if they're bad cards, you just put them at the bottom and just draw a random card. It's fantastic. And in this matchup, it didn't get to stick around and do much, but it soaked up pretty much an entire turn worth of attacks from Traitor Dende, which is certainly not bad at all.
No. And with that boo on the board, I can't like really end the game with battle cards, which even though I have this Gohan Unison on the table is really like the deck's main goal. So I just have to kill it every time it shows up if I want to be able to end the game in like my preferred way. And then it might seem kind of early to just go ahead and jam the robot out here, but I'm not sure which variant of the Invoker deck you're playing. And in my mind, at this point, you're going to try to go into Rival Seeker and then the Infinite Attacker. And you really can't with Robotic Riposte on the field because you'll just run out of stuff to rest. So I kind of expected Rival Seeker, but I wasn't really sure what the alternative play line was going to be.
I think both me and Jake had the same mindset because I played Jimmy round 1, and I was like, "Okay, cool. Just gotta wait for that big thing to drop and just deal with that when he does it."
Yep, that was my thinking going into this turn.
So I run the Infinite Attacker. Spoiler alert! I'm running the other 6-drop. I run the Infinite Attacker in the sideboard mainly for the blue matchup because it has Deflect on it, and blue is not the best at dealing with stuff on their turn outside of the counter window. So I throw that in the sideboard and bring it in for those blue matchups. For this matchup particular, I think the other 6-drop is just significantly better, so I didn't even bother siding it in.
Got some choices there.
Yeah. Because also at this time, I do have the secret rare in hand, so I was just trying to like, okay, I could try to like shoehorn this secret rare in, and I have to get 5 extra cards in the drop area, and I can make this work. But seeing that those 2 negates, it's like there's no way I'm getting a victory strike through.
Correct me, I might be wrong. Is Goku just 3 energy? I thought it had to be 3 multicolored energies.
It might be actually. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I mean, you had one of your drop.
Yeah, he's got the multicolors, even if it's not the particular one that he used.
Yeah.
And I go Catablow here. I was also trying to dig for another Rival Seeker so that I could go into 2 of the 6-drops and get 3 damage here, put him at 1.
The fact that Rival Seeker is not limited 1 effect is just crazy.
Yeah, it's nutty. With Catablow being a limit 1 now, thank God, because this game would be over if it wasn't. I feel that Rival Seeker is what's really holding this deck up at this point. While it's 1 turn early getting a 6-drop on the field, because you do have to have 5 energy, being able to have 5 energy, tap 3, go into Rival Seeker, activate main, go into your 6-drop, and then restand those 3 energy that you spent on Rival Seeker and be back at 5 is just nuts. And the amount of value that Invoker brings you on this 6-drop is just disgusting. So in most games, this is when the game would be over. But with Jake's setup and also getting that extra Rival Seeker out of my hand early on in the game using the Planetary, I'm now having to rely on Invoker, which is really not that big of a deal because all the Invoker cards are busted. Champ to the rescue. If you don't know what the card is, it negates the attack. Your opponent can choose one of their active mode cards, switch it to rest mode. If they don't, you get to add that card back to your hand, which Jake chose to go ahead and activate, which was probably a smart choice.
It doesn't give you can't use it again for this turn, but it's another negate for a future turn.
Exactly, yeah.
And in my head, you can see here I'm digging pretty deeply to make some kind of play. In my head, this Mecha Frieza is going to get sucked up into a cell at some point, as long as I can force to draw it this turn anyway.
Digging.
Yes. I'm not gonna die to combat in this game anyway. So these super combos are really just like draw twos to try and find my way out.
And when that was happening, I was trying to sit there and remind myself. I was like, "Well, fuck, what was the ultimate wish on this leader? Is it like, does it get like quad strike or some shit? Like, what am I about to die to?" And then once you're like, "I'll leave it," I was like, "Okay, he was just digging. It's good." So there, the face down card is Victory Strike, which you did think about playing it at this point, and I think we kind of sat there and discussed it.
Yeah. So the plan was to make you play it and then go into a returning terror and just pop it. But you have a Royal Condemnation in your hand, and I forgot it's got Invoker. So I'm like, no, just play a super combo or something, and
Well,
and you know,
not just that, but the 6-drop on the board has Invoker.
Yeah, the 6-drop does as well.
Yeah. So at any point, he can just stop whatever play I'm making. So playing that secret rare in that way with this board is really dangerous.
Did you even like? I know you don't play a lot of Invoker until towards the end of the game. Did you even think about that with the Royal card in your hand when he played that 4-drop?
Yeah, I did think about it, but everything in my hand is okay for him to put on the board, and it's basically, I basically get. It's almost like group hug at this time. He gets to play a card, I get to play a card. And then I know most of his removal is due to playing a card, and I have counterplays in hand, so I can keep the card around if I really needed it.
Right.
So I was completely fine with him playing it out. Anytime he was going to play a returning terror, that's when I was going to use it because I want to keep my cards on the side. And not to go back too far, but when I ripped the power out of his hand, the power of the Super Saiyan, I was thinking I have to have cards in rest mode for him to kill.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want him resting my 6-drop and then killing it for essentially free, while also getting a card replacing in his hand. So that's why I went for that instead of the blocker negate, which blocker negate might have been better if I was running like the infinite attack. I just wanted to keep my 6-drop around, and I knew that if he can't remove the 6-drop, I just win, because I can pick up a Catablow from leader effect. I can't remember if I have a Catablow in hand or not, but I have a guaranteed Catablow next turn, no matter what.
And that's just, it's putting Jake in that time. It's like you have to go for game here, or next turn's it.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense for all the super comboing and the digging. You're trying to find a certain key card. Is this another Unison play?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead and take the Empower and get a little free removal.
Yeah.
I know he can't interact with it, even though he's got Invoker, because a lot of the Invoker stuff doesn't really interact with Unisons very well. So had I decided to go this play earlier in the game, maybe I would have saved my super combos for this juncture and potentially had the combo power to kill him here, since he can't interact with the Unison. But like we said, I was digging for Cell to try and make the Cell play because of the deflect, and couldn't find him.
So it's a triple attack. You could just straight up kill me here, but I'm able to pick up the Sleepy Boy with the leader ability. I choose not to bounce anything because I just don't want to put any more power into your hand. And then now I only really have to worry about a Champa coming down, which, if I remember correctly, your hand wasn't so big that I wouldn't be able to combo out of it. If not,
probably not. You might have to combo your secret rare, but
and there it is.
There's the Cell.
Dang.
When I looked in my life for the balls earlier, I just didn't notice it there, and played the whole game like it was in my deck, and unfortunately it wasn't.
That's unfortunate. Well, with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind there's buttons down below and on the screen while Jake does the outro.
It was kind of fun bringing back a deck from like set 6, set 7, and trying it out with some of the newer cards. I'm really excited for Zidkai, and leave in the comments what deck you're excited to try. Something new or something old with new cards in it. Remember to read your cards, know your plays, make the mistakes so that you don't have to. Made one right there. And fluff out.